5 classic Mercedes models that everybody forgets to consider. Well, I hope you guys like the setup. I'm going to pitch 5 amazing classic Mercedes to you. And we're going to do the first 2, and then I'm going to ask you guys to subscribe, and then we're going to do the last 3. So, the first model that we're going to start with is the 115 series. If you can't afford a 123 240 diesel, or you can't find a really good one, you may want to think about looking at a 115 series 240D. They're a little quirkier, their interiors aren't as durable, but they are damn good cars. They have all the strengths of the 123. They're analog, they're highly mechanical, they're a lot of fun to drive, and in some ways they handle better, and their road feel isolation is great because they use front and rear subframes. So I would say consider the 240D or even the 220D as a potential option for a 123 series car. Number 2, 116 300 SD. Great 126 300 SDs are starting to pick up a lot of momentum in the marketplace. The 116 series 300 SD represents a great alternative for somebody who wants a turbo diesel S-Class but doesn't want to deal with the aluminum head issues and connecting rod issues of a 300 SDL or 350 SD or some of the problems of a W140. The 116 300 SD is an extremely robust, tough car. While the climate control system can be a little bit finicky, a quick trip to eBay and the purchase of an automatic climate control manual for this model should be able to help you surmount any climate control issues with a lot of patience, of course. Okay, now that we're in the middle of this video, I'm going to ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe. I don't understand why my subscriber count is so freaking low. This is ridiculous. I have no idea. I mean, if you're watching Bring a Trailer or whatever, you know, you should also be watching this channel because this is where the good advice is, not in the Bring a Trailer commentary. I also expect you guys to leave a thumbs up. And, you know, I don't know what else to tell you guys. But I would like for you guys to also like this video and maybe do some other things so that more people can find out how great classic Mercedes are.
It's free information.
It is. I mean, where are you going to get free information about cars that people typically overpay for without knowing what problems they have? All right, let's go to the next model. Number 3, if you really like the way that the 123 looks, but you aren't married to the idea of getting a diesel or a diesel or a turbo diesel, a great model to consider would be the 280E or some of the European counterparts like the 230 or 230E. And in fact, for 77 and 78 only, there was the 230 sold in the United States. These cars often lag behind great turbo diesels on the value spectrum. A 1981 280E or CE represents a great and reliable alternative, and while it may not have that wonderful diesel clatter, the cars do outperform the diesels. Their fuel economy is not as great and they're not as simple to service, but they still are great cars for do-it-yourselfers, and they're extremely refined, wonderful automobiles. Mercedes did not cut any corners with the gasoline 123 series cars. A 4th great model of classic Mercedes that a lot of people forget about is the 260E or 300E 2.6. This is the most basic 124 series car and was sold all the way up to 1992. The early versions of this car from 1986 to 89 were badged 260E, and later on they were badged 300E 2.6s. While this car uses a smaller displacement engine, it still performs extremely well. It has some more basic equipment such as manual seats. And to be fair, a lot of these cars get overlooked so that when a great one does come up, it sells for about half the price of a normal 300E. These also came along with manual transmission. So if you've ever wanted a manual 124, this is a great place to start looking for one of those cars. All right, number 5. One of the best, most overlooked classic Mercedes that I think that most people aren't even aware of. And by the way, if you're still watching, I really appreciate that because it means a lot to me, is the 200 Fintail and 200 diesel. These cars are made in 66 and 67. Now, if you have always wanted a 220S, 220SB, 220SE coupe, you might want to consider the 200 or the 200D. Why? The 200D offers bulletproof reliability without having to deal with carburetors. Sure, it's not very fast, but it's fast enough. Maybe it's not a great car if you're driving on Texas freeways, but hey, if you live, in Florida like we do, and you're not much of a toll road driver, then they're great cars. The 200 is extremely zippy and peppy. It has 2 little carburetors feeding its engine. It makes about the same power as a 190 SL. So needless to say, these are fun to drive. They get around the turns pretty nicely too. They have great visibility and they have great panache. They are relatively undiscovered and overlooked because most people look at the bigger 6-cylinder Fintails. And personally, I think the 200 is a more robust engine anyway. Because these are only produced for roughly 2.5 model years, they don't get on people's radar as much as they should. So this is definitely a wonderful car that's worthy of consideration. And if you made it this far, I'm going to give you one bonus car that I think is a really great example of a classic Mercedes to look at. If you're interested in a Mercedes coupe, but you can't swing the money for a 560 SEC, or you can't swing the money for a really nice 500 SEC, and you have some do-it-yourself motivation, from 1982 and 83, there was the 380 SEC. People often make fun of the 3.8 liter engine, say it wasn't powerful enough, but actually when they're running right, they're great, they're efficient. You can run them on any rec fuel out there. They make enough power to be able to cruise all day at 115 miles an hour. They are not underpowered by any stretch when they are working right. If you get one, you need to make sure that the single row chain was updated to a double row chain. But personally, I would drive a 380 SEC all day long. Even an 82 that's ivory with a Brazil brown interior and the factory bunt wheels. I don't care. I think they're beautiful, classy cars, and I think they're totally overlooked and undervalued. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, thumbs up, subscribe, comments below. Let me know if you can think of any unknown or overlooked classic Mercedes that are not on everyone's radar. See you guys in the next video, and enjoy driving your classic Mercedes Benz.